All right. Welcome, everyone. In today's open meeting, we're going to hear about our web and graphics subteam. And they're going to give us an overview of the work that they do to communicate our project to the general public and to judges in the iGEM competition. So previously, this wasn't actually a team in iGEM Toronto, but I think web and graphics team play a very important role, and I think all the other members agree that if you have a very beautiful layout, a clear communicated scientific concepts, that will really make a much bigger difference than if you just had text.
My name is Xinqi, and I am the web and graphics team lead. So for today's meeting, I want to show you what we have done as the design team. So I will begin my part with a bit of team members' introduction, and I will talk about what we would do as a team. And then I will go over the user research result that we have, as well as the graphics and web design. So what do we do as a team? So we are responsible for the branding of iGEM Toronto. We wanted to create a new feel for this club. And so that's why we're doing this as a project. So there are currently 6 people on our team. We have Marian, who is responsible for the social media content timeline, as well as the write-up. And there's me, the lead, and the UX designer who manages the ambience, the overall look and feel of the visuals. We also have Ivani, who is our front-end web developers, and Adam, our wonderful videographer. And he also helped me with strategizing for the content creation. Lastly, we have Natalie and Carrie, who are our graphic designers. So for the entire rebranding project, we broken down to 3 steps: the user research steps, the design step, and the development stage. For the first part, for the user research stage, we communicate with the executives regarding the project directions. And then based on those information, we created user personas for different social media platforms, as well as graphic mood board that will dictate our color and types and illustration style. Then combining the user persona and the graphic mood board, we redesigned our project, the website, and then created mockup for the web, and we already completed the usability testing for the mockup. The graphic designer is taking the graphic mood board and then created a character sheet for the 5 subteams under iGEM Toronto. And Adam here is working on the shot list for our promotion video. We are also currently we're working on constructing the websites, as well as creating a web interface where you can experiment with the dry lab machine learning model. So for the user research, the first one that I want to talk about is the Facebook research. So basically, for our so we dig a bit into our user data, and then we realized that most of our followers are U of T students who have some knowledge in synthetic biology. They are from 18 to 24 years old, and they're usually looking for study or work opportunities on Facebook. So we plan to post information regarding recruitment and open house sections with catchy graphic and an open call to action. The next one is Instagram. It's mainly similar to Facebook's, the composition of users mainly similar to Facebook. But one thing that's very interesting is that they prefer posts with human elements in it. One of the most engaging posts we have is two of our past members sharing their experience working with us with like a headshot of them. So our plan is to post light and creative contents with human elements in it, and we would direct the heavy reading or discussion to other social media platforms. So the next one is for Twitter. So our most engaging post on Twitter is a panel talk on synthetic biology. According to our research, posts such as insightful content linked to events or papers would also be very popular on Twitter. So we plan to post project updates and general club discussion with a link to papers. Nonetheless, there's tons of potential to be explored on Twitter, such as interacting with other RGM teams and professionals in synthetic biology using the comment section or the direct messages function of Twitter. And then there's LinkedIn, which is very similar to Twitter. So we plan to post project updates and journal club discussion and some of the graphic design material that we plan to release. Lastly is our TikTok. So this is a very new social media platform that we are exploring right now, and we haven't really post anything yet, but our plan is to post some fun and informative short videos on synthetic biology. So let's take a closer look at our color palette. So when we first started, we looked at the color wheels and we decided that we wanted to pick two pairs of complementary colors from the color wheel. So that would give us a flexibility on creating the graphics. So what we pick is yellow, green, blue, red, as you can see from here. But then we realized that this color palette is shared by many famous tech companies such as Slack, Google, Microsoft, to name a few. So to give us a bit more unique characteristic, we swap the blue with purple, and that leads to our 2020 color palette. As you can see here, this one is a more vibrant and intense color palette, and the results come out nice, but for this year, we decided to remove the green from the color palette because we don't actually use it that much. And then we created a more muted version based on the 2020 color palettes. And this is our 2021 color. So our final color and typography palette looks like this. To see it in action is like this. So we apply this color palette on one of the graphics that we create. So you were looking at the character sheet that we created for the 5 subteams. The first one is wet lab, and then second one is web and business and ethics, and then executives, dry lab, and the web and graphics team. So the reason that we wanted to create characters for the subteams is because we wanted to give our viewers a concrete image of what the subteam is doing. And this kind of SVG graphic will be used on our social media posts as well as on our website. As you can see here, the differences between the sketches and the SVG graphic is that the SVG graphic is vectorial work with solid color and a really clear outline because we are trying to go for a clean and modern feel for the brand. So to put everything together, we created this graphic for our landing page, and this is what a mock-up for the landing page will look like. Some close-up of other pages. Looks like this one is the Teams page. As you can see here, we're really trying to go after this simple, clean, modern life, and we didn't use any templates. So we hope this will give us a unique characteristics, especially for the rebranding project. So for the user flow, there are 7 pages in total. All the pages are accessible from the landing page. As you can see here, all the pages will eventually lead to the contact us page, which is what we want. We really try to encourage the viewers to get in touch with us. So take one route, for example, the project demo page. So basically on that page, you would get a short blurb of what our project would look like. And then there will be a interface where you can play with the building sequence. And then at the bottom of that page, there will be a link to the contact us page. So as you can see from the flow there, we really try to give a complete experience for when you're exploring the page, whether you're going through the route of project demo or sponsors or about iGEM Toronto, or if you're just browsing our past projects or just looking at our current team members. So that's it. That concludes my part of presentation.
This is one of the latest videos on the YouTube channel. This was back in 2019, back when iGEM Toronto, well, the iGEM global competition was in person. Now, COVID-19 posed a particular problem. How do you have these kinds of presentations when we can't really meet, like in this video, in person to prevent the spread of COVID-19? So iGEM headquarters, who organized the competition, changed the elements of the project to have 2 judge deliverables, a promotion video and a presentation video. Right now, the main efforts of the videography segment of the team has been the promotion video, with the presentation video arriving sometime near the due dates in the autumn semester. So what are the objectives behind making a good promotion video as one of these judged segments? Well, I want to ask to answer 3 questions with this video working with the team. What are the problems with current methods for recycling plastic? What is the solution that iGEM Toronto can provide for organizations that work with plastics? And why should viewers of the video care? So it's introducing a problem, talking about the solution, and talking about the impacts of the solution. Now, to accomplish these objectives, the video has to work within particular constraints. It has to be concise. It has to be no longer than 2 minutes. It has to be widely understandable, because the target audience are people who don't necessarily work in plastics research. And also, it just makes it easier for particular stakeholders, people who might care about plastics, to be able to understand the video better. And finally, it has to be interesting. Each shot, which can be a few seconds long, has to motivate the viewer to keep watching the video, so they don't close it off, because there are so many things on the internet that they could be watching instead. So it has to be concise, understandable, and interesting. Now, what resources do we have available to accomplish these objectives within these constraints? Well, for one, we have a wide amount of knowledge available from veteran team members and new team members as well, working directly on the research in both the dry lab and the wet lab, and also in terms of pitching the content in the business and ethics team. So we want to make the most of the human capital, the people we have on the team. Secondly, we want to create shots that people can't find anywhere else on the web, but they can't find in other videos. So at TNU, took this particular screenshot of a modeling of how one of the enzymes that break down the plastics, how it's looked like as part of a model. So by taking these original shots, we can create some original content as well. And this is an animated GIF, but it looks like it's not moving right now. But we also aim to supplement this with freely licensed stock footage. This was taken from the Wikimedia Commons. It's a bunch of plastic going down a conveyor belt with workers throwing the plastic away that can be used. It helps to illustrate the extent of the problem, where lots of recycled plastic or plastic set aside for recycling actually can't be recycled. So we're using these different types of shots to communicate this idea in an engaging way. There are 3 stages to the video production process. There's pre-production, which for the more experienced, experienced videographers, it means that this stage is probably the most important, because it's easier to make changes before you commit to filming than after you commit to filming. Next is production, where I apply the skills of proper audio and video recording to actually take that footage. That's what most people think of when they think of videography. And then there's post-production, the addition of motion graphics, of video edits after this footage takes place. So by working through these different phases of the video strategy with the resources available within those constraints, we intend to hit some intended outcomes. So the video has to be engaging and understandable. And importantly, because this is a scored segment, a particular goal is to make it stand out among the other iGEM video submissions by making it particularly interesting, both information-wise and content-wise, in terms of how engaging it is. And additionally, this video can also be used for different applications as well. In addition to getting additional points for the particular competition, it could also be very useful as one of the initial entry points into what iGEM Toronto has been working on throughout the year. This can help with the particular goals of recruitment, getting sponsorships, and forming partnerships with external organizations. And also, from a personal view, I think it's nice to have a memorable record of what you do in the year, to kind of look back on the work you've done. And I'll now pass it back to Yinchi on the rest of the presentation.